Grand jury testimony in Texas is usually kept a secret.
But for the first time, we're hearing how a former Austin police officer explained his actions before he shot and killed a man running from the scene of a bank robbery back in 2013. In May, Charles Kleinert pleaded not guilty after a grand jury indicted him. Also this spring, his attorneys successfully moved the case to federal court. They argue Kleinert was acting as part of an FBI task force the day he shot Larry Jackson Jr. KXAN investigator Robert Maxwell has been poring over the now public testimony.
And we can tell you at several points in his testimony, the transcript shows Charles Kleinert crying as he recounts the seconds leading up to Larry Jackson Jr.'s death 2 summers ago.
The day of the robbery, surveillance video showed then-Officer Charles Kleinert emerge from the bank to speak to Larry Jackson Jr. before a chase and struggle that would end Jackson's life. The grand jury testimony now shows us what Kleinert allegedly said to Jackson that day. Bank staff earlier told Kleinert Jackson was pretending to be another customer to access his account. He said, "The customer is my brother and he's been in a car wreck and I need some money." When Kleinert challenged Jackson to call the brother, he says Jackson took off running. What no one saw was when Kleinert caught up with Jackson under a bridge by Shoal Creek. The veteran detective told the grand jury he had one hand on Jackson's shirt and had hit him at least once with the other hand that held his gun. The weapon fired once as Kleinert fell during a struggle. A bullet struck Jackson in the neck, killing him. He said, "I can see his eyes." Kleinert was crying as he recounted this, "And I already know what's happened. I already know, but I'm thinking, please don't let that have happened." Typically, grand jury hearings are kept secret. It's to avoid tainting a future jury who would hear an eventual criminal trial. But Texas law allows exceptions, in this case to help the federal judge hearing Kleinert's case to rule on a motion to dismiss it. An attorney not connected with the case says it's in the state code.
It's rare, but it can happen on a good cause, and it sounds like in this situation, under the Code of Criminal Procedure, the prosecution can release that, again, upon a judge's order or for good cause to assist in the investigation or the prosecution of an individual.
By way of your background, Kleinert's attorneys want the federal case thrown out, arguing the former police detective is protected by federal immunity laws since he was working as part of an FBI task force at the time investigating a bank robbery. Judge Lee Yackel could rule on that motion in late September, and time is set aside, we noticed, for a jury trial in November. I'm Robert Maxwell, KXAN Investigates.
Your tax dollars are going to pay at least one settlement in the case and possibly more. Austin City Council has settled a lawsuit from Larry Jackson Jr.'s children. A second lawsuit was filed late last month. Jackson's wife, Kristen, is asking for $250,000.